Mr. Stone.
Okay, the honourable member for St. Michael East.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for your generosity and also that respect for seniority in the circumstances. Sir, 2 days after this matter came before this honorable House, I took the opportunity to journey from these noble halls across Corey Street. I went Marhill Street. I went Amen's Alley. And I did that twice in order to determine if what was occurring here had any major impact or any relevance to the ordinary man and woman in the street. So I have actually committed myself to represent that class of people based on those people who I assume supported me and caused me to be a member of this highest house in the land. I did not then believe that I would have to even speak on this important matter of the estimates 2018 to 2019. But based on what I've heard yesterday, I think it was yesterday that the Minister of Social Care spoke, I was of the opinion that a man being responsible for an institution that is responsible for dealing with transfers, I felt that I had to explain the fundamentals that undergird the importance of transfers. Based on a surprise and a departure from the firm commitment to social democratic principles that I heard coming from the Honorable Prime Minister, I thought that today I had to intervene and to make a contribution. Now I know some people say that history repeats itself. Some also believe that at this present juncture, there's a catastrophe or something cataclysmic, special events that is slicing through the moral fabric of this society. And they believe that the threads that bind the past to the present have been slashed. And therefore, there's no need, and I've heard it more than once, there's no need to reflect on history in order to understand the importance of progress that we have made over a number of years. I want to be able to defend in this contribution that socialist agenda. I want to be able to defend to those disloyal servants of the people why the welfare state is still of some importance to us. And if we did not have that welfare state, And if that welfare state did not fall within the precincts of a social democratic guideline, all the complexities of class and race and gender that we had yesteryear would be still very much present today. And that is why I say, and I hope that I'll be able to keep on track on this one, because I don't want to make a flimsy contribution. I want to be able to say something that makes sense. And I don't want to go to the Minister of Social Care too early. Now, sir, the cataclysmic events that I speak about is not just sewage on the South Coast. It's not just crime in the country at this specific moment. But we have had a long, courageous, vivacious, and challenging journey in order for us to get here. And we had to face uprisings, as some people mistakenly misrepresented, distort what occurred in the 1930s, which some people don't like to hear about. But I will be able to explain to you the importance of the past to what is happening here now. Now, some people don't want me to make reference to the Great Depression, because there are some people who like church and will go into church every Sunday dressed in their best wear. I will sit down and listen to people talk about what transformed during the period of BC, but they don't want to hear anything about what we had to do in the 20th century that brings us to the point we are in the 21st century. And that is the type that now represents the interests of people across Barbados. I don't think it ever existed before. Now, sir, we did not emerge out of a homogeneous society. We were the subordinates in a society of many different types. And I talked to you about class divisions, and up to now, Barbados is one of the most complex societies when it comes to social stratification. Black men that accumulate money, and there are very few of them, are never perceived as anything more than black working class men. Don't care how wealthy they become. And if you doubt it, NASA had wealth. I saw people in this country had wealth, and their own people never respect them. They are perceived the same way now as they were perceived then. Other persons in this society, even when they are broke, this society respected them. We're going to get into the aspect of democratic socialism. But I heard a minister who is responsible for social care condemning all the good work that occurred, that enabled black school children, girls and boys, coming out of the transition out of colonialism in hard times, who could not get a meal, a pass, or an underwear as a result of any earnings by their mothers and fathers, being condemned for going to Queen's Park in a program which the state, through subsidies and transfers, was able to feed poor people children who end up at Commonwealth Secondary School. And I know some of you in here are the grandchildren of some of those very parents. You don't like to hear it. At all different levels of here, nobody don't like to hear it. But I'm going to speak it till the day I die. I hear them describe it in the most pejorative manner. If you had to come out of those harsh, barbaric times, there would have been a moment of transition. No black man, most black men and women could not feed their children on 2 shillings and 6 pence a week. And when a young man got a little bursary to go to Commonwealth or any of these schools, sometimes they had to hide from the children at school because their survival rests with what was given to them in the park by Ernest Dieter Morley. I don't mind the distortionists that make you believe that you can jump out of slavery and come up to the top of the hierarchy of the ladder. It never happened so nowhere on earth. No minister of social transformation who have done so much injurious things in his life should be presiding over such a ministry and totally ignorant of that journey that contributed to the development of a welfare state. You have out there to the southern side of this parliament where every MP, including the PM, the Prime Minister of this country, we look to the south of this parliament and we see our brothers and sisters lining up for food. You can't look at that and put any kind of pejorative interpretation to it. It is a sordid observation. Because this struggle that we have had, this struggle that we have had to move all people out of poverty, we should not be now looking to the south of this parliament and seeing our brothers and sisters sitting down, no cover over their head, rainfall or sunshine, they will go there to eat food every day. How can you be condemning that? You have to ask yourself if you are Minister of Social Care and something called constituency councils or empowerment, something long thing. That's a dissertation in itself. I have never seen a ministry on it, the Sun, that got about 45 words in order to tell you who it is. You're going to spend about 9 months, especially with a slow learner. They're going to spend real months to understand the ministry that he's responsible for. Poor people out there by the senator, close to Trafalgar Square, straight up in the eyes of Horatio Nelson, looking for a meal. And he is the biggest advocate of condemnation. You know what about if one of them stay here talking, I talking to the people. They can walk out. I know what they did, you know. They went and met with a non-black man, a Caucasian man. And he invested in all the parliament by talking with talk anyway. And he invested, he told them, if you get rid of Prescod, I will talk and I will call his name at the appropriate time. He told 2 ministers in here, if you can get rid of Trevor Prescod out of parliament, I guarantee you all the election funds. When I reveal it to you, and I tell you who the individual is, you will never believe it. I ain't fabricating the stories. I know what is happening in this country. I've been here, sir. And I have seen men walk those stairs without anything on them. Men that would never speak to black ministers in Barbados. Who those ministers could not go to their offices without an appointment. I have seen those men walk up these stairs to members of this present government. They're coming with my community in recent days. They put a little patch on the top of Bracknell Hill, and they get a neophyte, and I tell him, come up, working with an officer who used to be an employee at CBC, and tell him go up on the hill and get a photographer to take a picture. A government that got potholes from St. Lucie to Silver Sand. A government that got potholes from Spikestone to Bathsheba. Patch 15 meters of road. And call a new candidate and say, take a picture here. The people ain't got much sense. They can believe that you did it. That is the nonsense and that is the perception that ministers of transport and ministers of finance hold of working class people in this country. And that is why they cannot understand what their responsibilities are. People who are involved in all forms of racketeering want to ascend to high office. Look, this journey by this Barbados Labour Party is one that we can be proud of. When this party was formed, this is a fringe group. This is a group involved in attempting to undermine a party that is likely to form the next government, and because you believe that you got a view coming out of your own elitist background, not that you're born in it, you know, but your orientation is at a point where you know all the same elitist values as people who believe that as a consequence of the color of the skin, they've got a right to impart special values to us. I don't have no doubt that God is alive. Some of you might believe that God is dead. You might even believe far in advance of the 40 days of light that God is a dummy already. So all the good virtues that he stands for, you can disrespect. I rarely see people that are barefooted and hungry and unemployed and that are homeless. You believe that those qualities that you identify as qualities, as a manifestation of inferiority, that you believe that you can manipulate them. These are the people that we call the masses of people in Barbados. We have to be sensible enough and sensitive enough to respect the past. And that is what I'm talking about, slicing and disconnecting from a history and understand what our purpose was as a people who were enslaved and did not have any persona whatsoever. You have to hear it from me. You hear it when it came at first. You can hear it up to the end of this season. You can hear it some more on the platform. You have to answer it. When Grant Adams came in the 1930s, when the Barbados Labour Party mushroomed out of the circumstances of the hardship of the people, isn't a party that imposing itself on people and talk about marijuana, people that never even smoke a trumpet or cigarette. All of a sudden, everybody feels we have got the saints as people. I left this message regardless of what the future is. You can't get foolish enough. If you know the personalities for 5 minutes, they can't fool you. But we can legalize marijuana and a parliament break it for 2 hours to accommodate. Don't say the wrong thing. What is serious? What is serious? You want to fool people all the time. Put down Barbara Green, and put down patch holes across the country that you neglect for 10 years. And then somebody can come in here and say them is a leader of an institution and ask, how can machinery become obsolete after 20 years? Huh? Houses got estimated life of 10. You buy a car sometimes, and in less than 5 years, the car is obsolete. This is contemporary Barbados in a contemporary technical and scientific world. Things become obsolete at a rapid pace in 2018. Why you can bring these people? All these people want to do is to undermine. I try to really find a term, sir, that will be good and musical to your ears. Because I get to talk about them in a different way in another place. But my great respect for you, sir, I would not say what I would love to say. I have to be discreet. And I sometimes I can't find a word that is suitable for such action or for such individuals. We have, sir. I want to really say 1 or 2 things about St. Michael's East. They asked you to remind me. I want to say a few things about St. Michael's East. But I will always pay respect to Wickham, Colonel Wickham. I have to know what Colonel Wickham was saying that made him what he was. Was not a member here. I have to say something to Ennis. I have to say something to Duncan O'Neill and Winter Crawford and these men who as journalists contributed something in a meaningful way because they want to shape and to be progressive and to contribute to a civilization, a Barbadian and Caribbean civilization. They were on a journey. We were not breaching fundamental principles that allow us to get out of where we were in the bowels of poverty. They didn't do that. They didn't do that. Some never reached the ascendancy to become parliamentarians, but they contributed in a meaningful way. Even in the Bush experiment, Grant Adams had to take up a role out of fear. But he had to do it. When he was elected to the Executive Council, he knew it was a challenge because if the masses did not quite understood what he was doing, he would have put himself in political danger. This is a journey, but all of us knew that we were moving based on a principle. Welfare departments, grants to organizations not concessions for big businesses, not $19 million writing off in the taxation for the horse racing people. We were putting money in the hands, sending people to the welfare department. Mr. Crawford understood it. And that is why both Bradley Adams and Sir Aaron Walton Barr recognized the importance of him in contributing to shaping this country. What am I hearing now? A lot of reactionaries babbling nonsense in these chambers. That's where they can't get anything done properly. How can a people want to dismantle all of these socialist planks, but granting concessions to persons because they got money? No principle. No principle. They appear to got passion on issues, but I know they are involved in theatrics. They are fooling people, and they have done it well. And that is the way they can float all kinds of material things to poor people on the eve of an election, and believe in floating these things that black people so ignorant, working class black people so ignorant, you did not feed them for 10 years, but you get them a big ham, you get them a big hamper, you get them whiskey, you get them food, and you play music, and a small TV, and a laptop, and all of a sudden, you are Jesus Christ. Can't be right. It can't be right. The reason why we are in this state is because some people in here involved in skullduggery, involved in corruption. Some departments are genuinely so incompetent, genuinely so inefficient. But corruption is at the core of the excessive spending in the various departments and the statutory bodies. It is in the transport board. And that is why you move from 225 buses to 60. Explain. Since everybody likes to explain how two ministers simultaneously received 2 BMW from the same source. Explain that. And if you explain that, and I can sense any legitimacy in the explanation, then you're redeemed. You are redeemed. You can't be redeemed because you can't explain it. Because if you explain it, you might end up in the law courts of this country for telling the truth. Look, so this isn't a big thing. This ain't no big thing. There are estimates, produce estimates, about 5 and 6 hours of what? With the newspaper, couldn't even find 6 good paragraphs. Could not find 6 good paragraphs after talking about 6 hours. Life is not substance. There's nothing qualitatively about talking 5 or 6 hours. Substance is required. Not only poetry that is empty and meaningless, but people would like to know that they can experience a better quality of life than the experience that they're now going through. People ask, look, I would love to be able to spend 2 hours with you, Mr. Speaker. That constituency that I live in, from the time I came to Parliament, I begged. Last year, I heard that $40 million was available from the Canadian government. The member of St. Michael's East did not say so. The representative of the Canadian government said so. He said that the documents are on the desk of the Minister of Finance. The Minister of Finance continue to work collectively with others to persecute people in the band. Persecute people in Odessa McLean. Persecute people in Hollis Cross Road. People getting up in fear every day because you're talking about sewage in the water, but you got sewage all upon this South Coast for nearly 3 years. And you can't address it. When the minister asks you for assistance, you ignore him. You ignore him. That's what is happening. I cannot get development in that community. I cannot get development in that community because of this obstacle. All I've been asking for, all that the cabinet has agreed on, is the installation of a reverse osmosis plant or a sewage plant that will cater to the needs across the district. I have problems at Belmont School, sir. Only primary school in St. Michael's without a security guard. The principal, the PDA, the parents stop their children from going to school since the ministry was blind to this matter and still blind to it. I called the chief education officer and she gave me an affirmative answer today with all the problems of violence across the world, including in Barbados. Those teachers and the children and their parents live in fear every day because of the negligence of the minister who is responsible.
Honourable member, please wind up.
Sir, I am begging you, whatever influence you have in your guidance, to help these people to understand things that make sense. Help them to become wise. They are wasting the public time. I don't even know why I am in here at this point, because this place has become irrelevant. You might not like to hear that, but it is true. I have had all kinds of problems and approached these people. All that they are studying every day is how to manipulate and contrive. Even the invitation, I wonder if it would have been extended such yesterday, where Parliament said, I'm going to break for 2 hours to allow allow Prescod to come in here and to say some things. Would never happen. They don't even want me to talk.
All member, please wind up.
Within these circumstances, sir, our problem is straightforward. Indifferent and callous individuals. If we can have the level of efficiency, if we can have that level of competency, if we can have that level of compassion and determination, there will be no problem. You will not have to ask any question if we can send people to the University of the West Indies free. You will not have to ask that. You have to ask it because inefficiency and incompetency underpins all that you are doing and not doing. So I want you, as a matter of fact, I want to thank you very much because you've been very generous to me. I want to thank you very much, sir, for allowing me to express the feelings that I have and the perspective that I share. I'm glad to know that everybody, especially those who stood in this Parliament, was prepared to listen to me. Thank you very much, sir.
Thanks.